Hello everyone, we've got a few different options for you for this week's challenge in the Facebook group, the Mixed Media Emporium. And before I forget to say, for anybody that wants to follow along with us, I'll leave the link to the Facebook group in the description box below. Now, you could either upcycle a box or some kind of packaging or a glass bottle or a glass jar, so take your pick. Now, I'm choosing a box. I've got a Matchbox here that I'm going to upcycle. I've got two different kinds here just to give you, a couple of different options. I've decided to go for one of the larger ones. This one here measures, let's have a look, 2 3/4 inches by 4.5 inches, just under 4.5 inches, and depth wise it is 3/4 of an inch. Now, I don't know whether you can see, this has got a shiny slick surface, and I don't know whether anything is going to stick to this. So what I'll do to start off with is just give it a light sanding. So I'm just going to sand lightly just to give me something to stick to, a surface for my next layer to stick to. So that should do it. Let me just sand the corners as well, and that should be fine. I'm going to start off by gluing down some book paper. I want to measure it though, cut it to the right size so that I don't waste any of this. This was sent to me in Happy Mail by my friend Elaine, and I've hoarded it because it is just so beautiful. So I'm just going to trim that there like that, more or less the right height. And now what I want to do is, if I can do this, is just make a mark here so that I've got enough to cover 3 of the 4 sides of my box. Let me just double check that that will do fine. And again, I'm just going to take it off to my paper trimmer and just trim this piece here. Hopefully, if I've got my measurements correct, this should be the right size to wrap around the back and the sides of my box, and it is. So what I'll do next is decide which side I want on show, and I like this side best. So I'm just going to add some glue stick to this side here. So we'll go over it and focusing on the edges as usual. So I'll just go over the whole of this piece of book paper. This is just German, old German book paper. It's just beautiful. Elaine, I'm so glad that I finally got the chance to use it. And then what I also want to do is just apply a small amount of the glitter glue just around the edges as well, to make sure that it's going to stick really firmly on these areas here. So a small amount, top and bottom. I'm going to go for the sides as well, and the same here. So some on the top and the bottom, and I'll do exactly the same on the other side as well. So hopefully that book paper won't be going anywhere. And then I'm going to start off on one of the sides. It doesn't really matter which one. Just turn that over, make sure that I've got this the right way up, and I'm just going to pop this on the very edge like this. Press that down, and then it will make it easier for me to wrap around my box. And that's good. We've got a slight shortfall, but I'm not too worried about that. We can ink that up, maybe add some treasure gold at the end, and you'll never see it. So I'm just going to use a bone folder now, just to make sure that this is burnished down well on all of these sides. Do the same here and the same on this side as well. And then I'll give that a couple of minutes just for that glue to dry and grab. Just make sure that it's really smoothly stuck down. I don't know whether you can see, but I've got a slight overhang here, and I'm just going to really carefully trim that to the edge. Just get rid of that. And that is now all nice and neat. And I'm just going to make sure that I burnish those edges. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the top here as well. That's all neatly trimmed now, top and bottom, and I'm ready to apply my focal image. Now I've got this book plate here, which is just beautiful. I can't pop it down on there because I've got glue on it. My son decided to phone right in the middle of this part of the filming. So what I've decided to do is use some of this yellow paper here, which I think will go really well as a backdrop. It picks out the yellow in the flowers here and also adds some brightness. Now this book plate here, Flowers of the Meadows, of course, is in English and my book paper is in German, but I just really wanted to use German paper, so you know, I don't think it really matters. So I'm just going to line this up. Oh, in fact, what I wanted to do first, Sam phoning now has completely thrown me off kilter. I just want to add some more of the glitter glue around the edges because, of course, it's the edges where it's going to come unstuck, isn't it? So you need to make sure that the glue you're using is nice and strong. And it won't hurt to apply a bit in the middle as well. The glue stick will just give me a bit of manoeuvring room. And so let's go it again. So I'm just going to pop this down and focus on the edges, and then I can trim the one side. I think that paper is just absolutely gorgeous. So there we go. Let's really give that a press down, and I'm just going to trim around the edges. It's nicely trimmed, and again I've just made sure that I've burnished all the way around, so I'm happy with that. And before I go any further, I just want to add some distress ink. I'm using frayed burlap. It might not be dark enough and I might need to come in with a darker colour, but we'll see what this looks like first. And this will sort of cover up as well that shortfall that I've got on the corners. I'm not too worried about that because I've got a plan for that in a second as well. I do like the look of the distress ink though, and I'm going to go all the way around. I'm going to go on the book paper as well, top and bottom on the sides, same here, just to distress it and make it look more vintagey. I like how that looks. Isn't that lovely? Now, what I'm going to do on the top of it before I glue my image down is add some Treasure Gold. Now, this one here is the colour Classic. And I just want that just on the edge there. You don't need much of this. I did have a look to see where you can purchase Treasure Gold from, and Jackson's Art has it, but as I've said in many previous videos, Pebeo do a gilding wax that's very similar to this as well. Also adding some of the gold just along the top of the bottom here as well. Otherwise it's just going to look a bit strange if we've only got it on the sides. Let me just show you the gold on the box. If I tilt it slightly, I think you'll be able to catch glimmers of it. So I'm really happy with that. I think I need a bit more ink just on the sides though. Let's make sure that we've got that sorted. So I'm now ready to add my focal image. I have already added some ink as well, just to get rid of the white around the edges. I've cut this to make sure that it is the right size as well. And I'm just going to use some of the glitter glue again, just around the edges to glue it down. I've popped some glue in the centre as well, so let's try and centralise this. Make sure that I get it the right way up as well. I'm going to stand up to do this because I always get a better perspective of positioning. And then let's just put a stamp block on top of it just to weight it down for a couple of minutes. I'm waiting for that to set for a couple of seconds. I need to address the drawers because you will see these once I slide it back in. So I'm just going to use some more of that yellow paper, and I'm just going to glue some onto the front and the back. I'll do that in the same way that I did before. So we'll apply some glue just on the outside and then some of the stronger glue as well. I want to make sure that the paper sticks. And we should end up with a really pretty box to play with. Let's just pop the pin back in, and I'm going to start off in this corner here and just pop that on. Make sure I've got that in the right place. Press it down firmly, make sure it's right to the very edge. I think that's about right. And then I can trim around the edges. Oh, I'm making it slide all over the place. And turn it upside down. In fact, let's get rid of that small piece first. It'll make it easier to trim. And that's the side of my box. So I'm just going to do exactly the same thing here on this end. Just make sure that you really burnish that down at the edges so that you know that it's not going to lift. And if you've got any glue on the front of your box as well, just wipe it away with a damp cloth. So that's looking lovely. Let's check that what it looks like in the Matchbox. Isn't that lovely? What I do want to do though is ink the edges again, so we can just ink around here, and that would just finish it off. It's the icing on the cake, isn't it? Now I've got quite a lot of this paper left over, and so I'm thinking that it would be really nice to have a piece of this to line the inside of the box. I'm not going to do anything with these sides because my box just will not slide in. It won't fit, so you know that's fine. And you can't see the sides anyway, so that's fine for me. But I do want to add some of this paper to the bottom. The easiest way to do this is to measure it, and it's going to be easier in centimetres than it is in inches. So I'm just going to cut it at 6 1/4 centimetres by, what's it the other way, by 10.5 centimetres. And if I need to cut it down further, then I can do. So that was 10.5 by 6 1/4. And this is just perfect. I just kept trimming, just taking a slither off until it fits really nice and snugly. So before I glue it down, I just want to ink the edges again, just so that everything matches. Can just apply glue again on the back, and then we need to decide what we're going to do as a handle. Let's pick this up and pop it inside, and slide it in this way so that I don't get glue everywhere. I don't want any around the edges, and just smooth that down into place. It just coordinates so well, and I love just seeing that hint of the yellow around the outside. Doesn't that look pretty so far? I'm going to use one of these Tim Holtz hitch fasteners to put on my drawer. It comes in 2 parts, as you can see, and they screw together. So that's going to go on there like that. And you know, it'll just look nice to pull the drawer open. I'm going to use my Japanese screw punch to make a hole, so that's what that looks like. Many of you will have seen me use this before, and the easiest way to do it is to just line it up. Now I've used a Sharpie marker to mark the central point. It's a little bit on the high side, so I'm just going to move it down. And what I'm going to do, this is the fiddly part. You can't get inside the box with a traditional hole punch. So, and the idea with this is that you twist it until you've got your hole, and you need to apply quite a bit of pressure. Just keep going. So I'm just going to keep doing this until my hole has gone all the way through. It's a little bit fiddly. Move my fingers out of the way as well, because I don't want to puncture my finger. That's it, I'm through. And so now I just need to put my, in fact actually if I bring this one through from that side there, and then screw it on. Bit fiddly, but worth it because they look so nice. So let's just make sure that we've got that screwed on nice and tightly, and then pop the Matchbox back in. How cute is that? I love it. You can fill these with all kinds of things. I'm not going to show you what I've got in mind for this because I'll probably end up gifting this to someone, so we want that element of surprise. But this is one I made a couple of years ago. Some of you might remember this. This was done using ledger paper and one of my master boards. That's what the drawer ends look like. This was made in exactly the same way. In fact, actually, it's probably the same type of Matchbox I used. And I filled this one with handmade buttons that I'd also made with my master board. So, you know, you could fill it with charms, you could fill it with buttons like I've done here, pieces of ephemera, absolutely all sorts. That's my altered box project for this week's challenge. So just to reiterate, you can either alter a box or some kind of packaging, or maybe even a bottle or a jar. So quite a few options for you this week. And again, for anybody that wants to follow along with this challenge, I'll leave the link to the Facebook group in the description box below. But if you've enjoyed my project today, as always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. And most importantly, thanks for watching. Don't forget to go and check out Kylie's video this week as well and see what she's been up to. You'll find the link in the description box below. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.